If there's a pedophile living in your community, then you're better off knowing about it, right? You know what I mean? If there's somebody living in your community that is willing to do despicable things to children, then you would rather know about it than just kind of ignore the fact that such a person exists, which is maybe in theory more comfortable, but not if you actually care about the ramifications of a pedophile living in your community. And if there's, let's say, a murderer living in your community, you would rather know about the fact that this person is a murderer than just kind of be ignorant and maybe one day invite him into your house to discover that the next morning you're not going to wake up. And when there are rabid anti-Semites out there who believe in the total and complete destruction of an entity, a group of people, like the Jews, then you would rather know about it. And that's why, as much as this video made me sick to my stomach, made me want to throw up, I'm actually kind of glad about it. And yes, of course, I'm talking about Candace Owens. For the last 2 years, we've been talking about how, yeah, she's an anti-Semite, yada, 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 yada. But yesterday, she just went off the rails. Off the rails. And now, there is zero chance of denying it, zero chance of anybody looking at this and not seeing it for exactly what it is. Total and complete anti-Semitism and hatred of the Jews to the point that she might actually even be calling for their death. Obviously, in a very Candace way, not directly, but, in a roundabout way that confuses people just enough. And the dangerous problem with all this, of course, is that she's got these absolute moron, idiotic people who are following her who might actually be stupid enough to listen to what she has to say. And how did all this thing come about? Well, because Ben Shapiro got on stage yesterday at Turning Point USA's America Fest and gave a blistering, beautiful, amazing speech directed at Candace Owens and the likes of the Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, Megyn Kellys, etc., who have proven themselves to be an anti-Semite. Hold off for a second. Putting Megyn Kelly into that category is not correct. She is not anything like those people. But he went after them, and he went after Candace, and he made it very clear. And apparently Candace got a little bit offended. Enough offended that she would make this video, which honestly, I don't like using this, but it kind of looks like a psychopath mental breakdown, menopausal. I don't actually know how to describe how embarrassing this was. But instead of everybody just freaking out about the fact that she's an anti-Semite, I think now we can really, really appreciate how bad it is and do everything in our power to make sure that she is completely and totally denounced. If you like the content that we are doing here, please make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, subscribe. We have 85% of you who are watching our videos have not yet hit that subscribe button, and that's what we need to make this movement grow, because this is a movement. This is the Pushback, the show where we fight against the current of madness that we are seeing. And if you believe in what we are doing and you want to support us, you can obviously check out the links below, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button and share with a friend if you like to. Are you guys ready to vomit? Are you ready? Get your buckets. Candace is gone. Kalulu. And it's even worse than what we thought possible.
I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin.
She went after Konstantin. Now I'll never forgive her. By the way, a midget horse? What an interesting expression to come up with. Sounds like a mental breakdown to me.
All of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you.
Hi, I'm in the world and I can stand Ben Shapiro. I just want to make that very clear.
You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you.
By the way, that book, we're going to talk about that book in a second, because that book, my friends, is not a representation of Judaism, not even in the slightest.
Too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals. that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy.
By the way, can I just say, yeah, she's being revoltingly nasty to Ben Shapiro, whatever, who cares. But do you guys remember that video that we did on Douglas Murray, who says that when you see anti-Semitism, what it is not a reflection of society. It is a mirror of the person making the allegations. Do you remember that specific statement? Because we're just going to replay a little bit of the things that she says. And now think about all of the things she's accusing Ben of and the fact that they are exactly what she is doing, because this is a mirror.
We're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he
Kind of sounds different when you realize she's talking about herself, doesn't it?
somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye.
Do you guys hear that one of her allegations against Ben is that how dare he pretend that he's trying to defend the people of Turning Point USA because she cares so much for the people of Turning Point USA? Like, I'm sorry. Bitch, how stupid do you think we are? Because we're not falling for this. None of us are falling for your absolute rabid stupidity. Honestly, it looks like you've got rabies. You're sounding so insane.
Is how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular?
Again, it all just sounds really different when you realize that she's talking about herself. How much more money is Candace going to spend to make herself feel more popular?
How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature.
If we're talking about turning backs on organizations and betraying them because that's your nature, Candace, let's talk about Turning Point USA and PragerU and every single one of the people who gave you a platform, like Dennis Prager, Marissa Straight, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro, yada, yada, yada. The person here who seems to have a reputation of turning their backs on organizations that gave them a tremendous amount kind of seems to be Candace.
One of these belly creatures, sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant? It's an open-ended question. Of course, what followed Ben Shapiro on stage is somebody who Charlie Kirk loved very much and who he fought for to the very end against the Jewish donors who were pressuring him, some of them because Ben Shapiro insisted that they do. That is Charlie Kirk's true legacy, and that is Charlie Kirk's true friend, just as I was and am and will continue to fight and ask questions about who killed Charlie Kirk. And to people that are at home, I implore you to wake up to these people who believe that they are contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men.
I think this is very interesting because as somebody who became really famous on the fact that she hated the fact that blacks were constantly going on over their slavery and their past, etc. And she just tried to say, stop using this as an excuse for hatred. Just move forward with your life. You can do so much. She's making like a full turnaround back to her leftist days where she believed in playing the victim. And now she's asking these people to incite violence in the name of their victimhood, just to change the people that oppress them.
Wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They've buried a lot of it, but it's there and you can find it. I think all of us need to wake up to this because it's making me absolutely sick that he is so bold that he dare sit near Charlie Kirk's chair, that he dare grace that stage when Charlie Kirk knew exactly what Ben Shapiro was and will always be. So again, on your belly, Ben Shapiro.
I thought I could.
She sounds kind of mad, you know what I mean? Like, she just doesn't sound very happy. And again, one of her big accusations against Ben is like, how dare you sit on that chair? How dare you pretend you were his friend? How dare you disgrace his memory? It's like, Candace, what the have you been doing for the last 2 years? But let's talk a little bit about that Talmudic thing for a second, because I think this is an important argument to discuss. Does the Talmud truly, really believe? Yes, I'm on my phone right now. Does the Talmud truly, really, really believe that Jews can control everything? That Jews should be suing to oblivion? Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'll tell you the answer. So this is a little excerpt from the author's obituary, okay? He died in 1931, and this is from the New York Times, where he was discredited as an anti-Semite, which is not such a simple thing to have done in 1931, okay? There is much written about him in Robert Wistrick's book, The Jews of Vienna in the Age of Franz Joseph, where he is described as a forger and a charlatan, and the writer of many anti-Jewish works. Using Talmud quotations torn out of context, his appearance as an expert witness in the ritual murder trial became a scandal when the Protestant theologian Franz Deichlich proved that he had committed perjury and falsification. Okay, this is a guy who committed perjury and falsification. Rowling's writings were rejected by the official church as obscene, and his license to teach was revoked. Through the promotion of anti-Semitism in Austria by Karl Lederer and by Lederer, his writings were widely decimated and influential. Rowling's anti-Semitic agitation was still cited by Julius Streicher. In Rowling's books, 5 Letters on Talmudism and the Blood Ritual of the Jews, Rowling claimed Jews kidnapped and murder Christian children for religious purposes. Okay? Christian blood is mixed in tomato dough to sanctify Passover rituals. I actually laugh at this stuff because it's so ridiculous. Judaism obligates Jews to murder non-Jews when advantageous. Mock crucifixion. Jews perpetrators reenact Jesus' crucifixion during ritual killings. Secret global Jewish conspiracy. Jews worldwide coordinate to conceal crimes through bribery, intimidation, and falsified records. Sanctioned lying, fraud, and perjury against non-Jews. The allegation that Jewish law permits deception towards Christians, even in court. Jewish doctors poisoning or experimenting on Christian patients for religious or racial reasons is okay. The book Candace holds up is very hard to find, but AI immediately identifies it as a discredited source embraced by the Nazis. That's the book that she chose, because she claims to have an understanding of the Talmud. By the way, the Talmud is an enormous array of books. An enormous array of books that takes people tens and tens of years to just get through on the most simple level. If she has spent all of that time actually reading it, maybe she could talk about it. But no, she's choosing the most anti-Semitic book that has a good title to prove that she really understands our theology and our ideology. But look, honestly, who actually cares if any of what she says is true or not true? She's actually calling for an uprising against Jews by blacks because we used to own them as slaves. This woman is out of control and she is psychotic. But once again, here's what I think. I'm glad that this stuff is in the open. Yes, there is a problem with it being normalized. This kind of rhetoric is unbelievably, viscerally dangerous. However, at the same time, it now actually just shoves her into the place that she needs to be. It's no longer this kind of logical documentation of a question and, a quest to try and figure out who killed Charlie Kirk. And maybe it was the Jews, maybe it was the Mossad, maybe it was Bibi Netanyahu. But rather, her anger has made it so clear that she's just a raving hater who's looking to gain publicity through hating on a group of people. And I think at this point, when you watch that clip, it just kind of becomes clear. The problem is that there are a lot of idiots out there. Unfortunately for us, there are a lot of idiots out there. And so we just have to work harder and harder and harder to fight back against the narratives, to fight back against this kind of claims. because it's ludicrous and it's insanity. And we need more people on the top calling out these things for what they are. The conspiracy theorists are always going to be conspiracy theorists. They're always going to come up with anti-Semitic tropes in any way, direction that they can. And Candace now just gives them that space. But at the end of the day, Candace Owens has now officially gone from being this kind of interesting character to being a spiteful, mean, vengeful, psycho woman who is clearly so deranged and angry at the white men, the Jewish men in her life, who gave her what she has, that she can do nothing but be absolutely hateful and disgusting in return. And hopefully people can now see it. That this is no longer a logical argument. This is no longer a logical quest to discover who killed Charlie Kirk. But rather, it's just a chance for her to get out her anger and vendetta against the people who back in the day actually tried to help her. It's an embarrassment. It's a sham. And all of us need to understand that we're now approaching a time where things have a little bit shifted. Anti-Semitism has become completely normalized in its conversations. And I am not one at all to believe in talking about anti-Semitism and how scary it is, because I don't think that's the right way to do it. I believe that when this stuff pops up, it makes us obligated to shine even brighter. As Jews, as Zionists, we just have to shine brighter and prove these people so unbelievably wrong that nothing can allow these people to succeed. But that's my belief. My belief is their hatred grows, our light needs to grow. And hopefully you believe that too. Thank you for your attention to this matter and for watching this episode of The Pushback.